Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the round two of the PC Tier 1 race. We're going to the Temple of Speed at Monza, and this is Prospects eRacing League with the sixth season. The first time ever we're doing a race on the PC platform, and so a season on the PC platform, and we're all going to be looking forward to it. The racing has been pretty exciting throughout the first race, I must say, in Mexico. I'll be your streamer and commentator for today, and my name is Harry. And with me, I have co-commentator Banjo, aka Alfred. Hi, Alfred. Good evening.
Yeah, hi Harry. Thank you very much. I'm super excited for today's race. Of course, as you said, Temple of Speed circuit, the Monza. It is a very amazing track. A lot of high speed, long straights and stuff. So we'll be watching some cars with really low downforce today, which is going to be its setup is a crucial part on any track, but right here it's really important to find the balance of grip and straight line performance. The track is 5.8 kilometers long, and the start-finish straight is 1.12 kilometers long. So it's quite a long straight in the start, which is where we will see most of the overtaking, probably down towards that big braking zone in turn one, where everyone will be going all the way down and slowing the car all the way down so they can make it through there, and to Curva Grande going up through the chicane, turns 4 and 5, turns 6 and 7, the two Lesmos. Then we'll come down towards the Ascari, famous Ascari, a little quick chicane, and then of course the last corner Parabolica, which is also legendary. And this track has been opened in 1922, if I'm not mistaken. So it has been a track forever, and it is definitely one of the most legendary tracks that we have on the Formula One calendar.
Absolutely. Good short, brief history on what exactly we've been doing at this track, how it's been working out IRL, and I guess it's the same. It has a lot of heritage. It's the home Grand Prix. Not the home Grand Prix at the moment, I must say, but home country for the Ferraris, the red beacons. So they
Yeah.
will be the ones to watch out for. And talking about that, the previous race, Mexico, we had John Meister who won the race for the Ferraris, did a pretty good job at maintaining that P1. Did get a little bit of pressure somewhere at the safety car restart, but then he held his ground, and even in quali he was able to oust. I mean, just get very close to, if I'm not wrong, the Haas of. I forgot the driver's name. We'll have to wait to go onto the stream into the race, but yeah, uh, there's a Haas driver of, if I'm not wrong, searching for his name. Lunatics. Yes, Lunatics. It was
Yep, yep, that's
Lunatics
right.
and John Meister who were fighting for pole position, and they were doing pretty good. They were within a few hundreds of each other, but they did really well to keep it up there in quali. But in race, I guess it was just unfortunate that Lunatics had that spin just into turn two, but then he did a really good recovery drive and he came all the way up to P4 or P5. So brilliant racing, and we'll have to see how it goes. Both Ferrari powered engines, Ferrari powered cars, and we will see if that does go the same way. The storyline is written the same way on this track as well. So
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna ask you about. Do you have an idea of what the strategies are gonna be around this track? Your views on the strategy calls?
Well, it's probably going to be a one-stopper, most definitely. From probably from the soft to the medium compound, I think that's definitely doable. Maybe some people are going to try and start on the soft or medium compound, as you don't lose as much time on Monza going for a harder compound, as it's a lot about the straight line performance. So maybe some people are going to risk it and start on the medium compound. We don't know. Of course, we saw some people doing laps on the medium tire last race last week in qualifying, but everyone ended up starting on the softs. I'm pretty sure. No, two people were on mediums on the start. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to plan out.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, last race we expected safety cars, but we didn't expect it as early as the first couple of corners itself. I think within the exit of the turn three itself, we had a safety car or a VSC at least. I think it was a safety car. Uh, pretty bad that it had to come so early in the race, but it spiced up the battles all around the track. There were a lot of strategies that did get a little messed up in terms of people starting on the harder tires. There were a couple of drivers like Flux Animal, for example, who started on the hard tire and worked pretty fine till the first set of safety cars after first set of pit stops, and I think the safety car as well, where he just really got, you know, the strategy just got botched and he had no way to recover from it because of the loss of track position. So yeah, a lot of strategies that will be thrown around, but I think the most conventional strategy is the soft medium, which is straight up the fastest strategy as well. The alternate strategy will be something that drivers will be looking at. I'm not sure if they will be interested in it because of the experience they've had in the first race where safety cars came out really early, but yeah, something to watch out for sure. And there might, if there's a very early safety car within the first 5 laps, there might be a possible soft to hards by some drivers as well if they want to play it out safe, because the hard tires can virtually do, on paper it can do almost the whole race. So yeah, that's there, and we have to wait and see if the game is throwing any kind of tantrums in terms of weather as well. Because if it is a wet session, either quali or race, that's gonna throw around a lot of factors into the play.
Yeah, of course, it's our second race. I would personally like to see a wet race because I always think that spices up things. So I think that would be awesome. Um, so yeah, hoping for a wet race from my perspective. Probably not all the drivers wanting a wet race, but yeah, I think it's going to be exciting either way.
Absolutely, and our drivers, as we're speaking, our drivers are probably getting into session. They've all loaded in, and I will quickly switch to where we can watch our drivers. There you go. Well, we have 16 drivers for today's quali session. The session seems to be dry at the moment. Not sure because we have to wait and see it as the game shows it to us, due to the fact that we will not be able to see the game doesn't show us the, the weather forecast for the sessions, so we have to wait for that. But nonetheless, 16 drivers, we are missing 4 drivers today. Not sure about the reasons, but I'm sure they will be a lot of traction on track. We'll have to wait and see how the session goes on. We'll quickly go on to onboard some of the drivers who are on the track now.
So yeah, like every other Monday, we have a short qualifying session where every driver, of course, tries to put in their very fast lap. Everyone aiming for pole position for the race, which is 50% race distance. Sorry. So it's quite a long race, so strategy definitely plays a big part, and people need to be on the lookout for anything, as anything really can happen. As we saw in the last race, where Lunatic sit on the pole and was taken out, I'm pretty sure, in the first couple of corners, which also put out a safety car or a VSC. I don't completely remember. We see 24 drivers on the medium compound for the first lap here. Um, that's an interesting strategy.
Yep, there are 4 drivers who've gone on to medium tires for the first lap, probably early days, early laps, banker laps, as they say. Just some rubbering in the track, getting a feel for the track. seeing how they are getting a feel for the car, going through the gears, getting their braking points right. It's like a warm-up lap basically. And as we speak about that, I think we saw Alfa Romeo, I think Mr. Mehta, who's gone into the gravel over there, has gone wide on turn 4, if I'm not wrong. And Flux Animal, the first driver who will be going across the line, he's the first driver on a hot lap. He obviously has the fastest first and second sectors because he's the one setting the pace right now. He'll be setting a benchmark time, which will mostly be definitely be not be his best lap because again, like I said, green track. There'll be some track evolution that will come into play considering this game does it pretty well. And as we see him going across the line, he's doing a 1:22.2. So, yep, that is the benchmark time at the moment for the drivers coming up. We have uh, we have Mr. Mehta who will be coming in next. That's gonna be a banker lap for sure again. 1:34. He spun out on turn 4. So yeah, there's still some time for us to see some real fast laps from drivers around, and we'll keep cycling through to see what the scenario is with other drivers. As we say that, I think I just noticed that Sai Tarun has just gone off and is retired. He's no longer part of the quali session. He's missed out on that. He must have had a squirmy moment out of turn 6, the first Lesmos, I think, and that was definitely quali ending for him. So he will most probably be starting from the back of the grid, P16, if no one else, if Mr. UPIR does not set a lap time, then yes, he will stay in P15. But I think that's most probably a last position. As I say that, Sushi Trash has also retired on track. Not sure if it was in the pits or on track, but yeah, his quali is over, and he won't be taking part in it anymore.
It's quite a common scheme that we've seen actually through these qualifying sessions, and as we see two yellow flags in sector 2 and 3 again, and sector 3 now. Um, People retiring from quali sessions either because they crash or maybe it's just because they, I don't know. Sometimes, of course, Sushi Trash and Saitarun hasn't set a lap time, but sometimes when people set a lap time, they just go ahead and retire if they don't think they can do any better. Which honestly doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe it's because they think everyone is going to do it so that they don't have to wait for the session to finish. But we have seen quite a couple of retirements during these qualifying sessions. As we see Lunatic coming down towards turn 1 here. Big braking zone, obviously going full throttle here through Curva Grande. Turn 2 coming up towards a chicane. Left hand on the entry and then turns it to right hand, of course. Let's see here, not a lot of curb actually. Nice and tidy, getting up towards Lesmo 1 and 2 here. And brake really late here, carrying a lot of speed and using all of the extra curb. He didn't really use a lot of extra curb actually. Entry used quite a lot though. And that was Lesmo 2 coming down towards Ascari. There is a little kink here in the straight. As we see a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3.
Yeah,
And he's
that's
going slowly.
yeah. He's out of fuel.
Yep.
He's done 2 back-to-back hot laps, and he's on low fuel mode. I'm sure right now.
Yeah.
That's the red, as you can see
Yeah.
it on the telemetry on the bottom of the screen. His fuel indicator is blinking red, so he's definitely on low fuel mode. He has
Yeah.
provisional pole now. We're on board Lunatics at the moment. He has provisional pole at the moment with a 1:20.3. So, yeah, commendable lap, but I'm sure there's a lot more pace from these drivers whom we're watching right now.
Yep, and there is, as we ride on board with Village Jensen coming down towards Parabolica, I think, right? Yep, it seems like it's Parabolica. Getting the green flags there. Is he on a hot lap or is it not? I think that's a hot lap. Seems like it. Talking all the way to the right. No, he's boxing, yep.
Yep, he is boxing. We will cycle through and see how many of these drivers are on a hot lap. He's on low fuel mode as well. So I think we are in the middle of that, in that part of quali where no one's going to be doing hot laps. They're going to be going into the pits quickly to put on
Yeah.
fresh tires or put in some extra fuel for the next run. Usually, you can do three well timed, well gapped runs in quali in most of these tracks. In certain tracks, you might even feel a little adventurous and probably cut a huge part of the track so that you can make it on time for your final run. We have Flux Animal here, Flux Animus, I'm sorry, who is seems to be on a hot lap. He has 50% of his ERS left, and he has a squirmy moment out of turn 4 and turn 5, if I'm not wrong. And he, through the first Lesmo, goes a little wide, takes all the curb on the exit, and on the second Lesmo, again, very squirmy, trying to utilize all of the track limit over there, but doing that, he might be losing some pace as well. So, coming up to Ascari, this is a very notorious corner if you do not get enough over there, which he's done. He seems to have done it just right, but he's gone out of the way for the driver coming up on him, I guess, Mr. Mehta. He's given way to him, probably on an in lap or going to be attempting another hot lap, I'm not sure, but Ascari definitely did go wrong for him. On the entry, he did not take enough curb, which made him go wide through turn 9, I guess, which is the middle of Ascari. And he must be starting another hot lap now. Opens his DRS wide. Doesn't have enough ERS for the rest of the lap, I think, but we'll have to wait and see if he's able to utilize it the right way and put in a decent lap because he's on a 122.2 right now, which is definitely not his fastest lap time.
Doesn't seem like it. We can also see Owen, who hasn't set a lap time yet, and Tom as well. Which is that because maybe they are waiting for the track to rubber in. They might feel that they got the pace, so they just need to set that one lap in the end when the track is fully rubbered in and has a lot of grip. So, oh, as we see, Flux Animus making a big mistake here, too early on throttle, probably running wide, snapping off oversteer on the exit and hitting the wall. His lap is definitely ruined, and I guess his front wing might have taken a hit as well. Doesn't seem like it actually, but well, maybe it's okay. I don't know. Let's see if he goes for another lap or if he's boxing.
Well, at the moment, I'm trying to get on board Owen, who seems to be on a hot lap for sure. He's set a 122 flat, that's a 122.0, and I'm sure he has a chance to do a better lap. As we see some cars doing way up ahead on the two Lesmos. He's going through turn 5, doesn't take a lot of curbs, stays clean off the
Slightly
curbs,
wide. Yep.
and going through the first Lesmo takes it very safe. He's not using a lot of track at all, and considering that Monza is mainly known for the more amount of time you basically spend on throttle, the faster you are. So the earlier he can go on throttle, that's how much he'll be able to carry pace. So carrying more cornering speed will probably help him utilize more track and also get a better lap time. But I guess he's still finding some grip around, getting a good slipstream on the back straight. Opts not to take it from T4 Real, the Red Bull of T4 Real. Stays clean of it on the racing line. Has a slow car up ahead of Dill, and that dirty air might slightly affect him, but then at this point I think it's a little, he's just on the brink of experiencing it and goes across the line with a 121.7, improves by 3 tenths, but I'm sure he has a little more pace in that car.
I think so too, and we have actually seen Tom set a lap on the medium tire compound, which was a 121.79. So only 200s slower than Owen. So uh, Owen can probably go faster than that. We've seen Owen show some really good pace. I think he was he P3 in the last race,
He was
if I'm not
P2 in the
mistaken.
last race because of the
P2.
fact,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
because of the penalties.
yes,
Yep,
absolutely.
that's right. Owen drove a really nice clean race at Silverstone, so that's also going to be important for today's race. You don't want to get penalties. You can get that especially in Ascari, as you can take a little too much curb by accident, and that will give you a warning and maybe even a penalty. And you can also, I don't know, do they give you penalties for running wide in Parabolica? Not sure.
Yes, anywhere you go on track, what happens in the F1 game is it's very strict with the white lines on the track, on both sides of the track. If you go, if you don't have a tire on track at any point of time, it gives you a penalty immediately, a warning, or an invalidation in quali basically. So track
Yeah,
limits are
yeah.
pretty strict on this game.
Okay. We
And
see.
the
Sorry, go
fact
ahead.
yeah sorry what I was trying to tell is coming into the 2021 game, what was a little tough to get used to initially for most drivers was that you have strict track limits, so you try to utilize as much track as possible, getting as close to the limit, but the curbs got a little more aggressive in this game, so you cannot take it with half commitment. If you take it without committing onto the curb, committing into that fastest line, you would basically get spun out or you have an unsettled car to deal with.
Yeah. And as you said, especially on Monza, it's really important to get maximum straight line performance. So as much you want to be on power for as long as possible. As we see, there is Mr. Meta on what seems to be a hot lap. He doesn't have a lot of ERS left though. Is it going to be enough? I don't think. Well, it isn't going to be enough. Might gain a little when breaking down here at Ascari. That was sketchy down the straight.
Well, as I
But
was explaining, out of the second Lesmo, if you noticed on the second DRS straight, he did not have all four tires, not a single tire on track. So the game immediately invalidated his lap time, as you can see
yeah,
on the track map on the right bottom. Turns
yeah,
red.
and we'll see him boxing here. I think he has a
Yep,
few. Yep,
definitely.
exactly. Let's see. So the top three right now, as it stands, is Lunatic in provisional pole position, as last time he took pole. JDX P2 and Arrows, who is in running P3.
They're pretty close
See,
between P3 and P4, if you can see. They're just 3 thousandths of a second separating Arrows in the McLaren and Dan Walker and the Aston Martin.
yeah,
And
exactly. It's hopefully going to be as close as last time in the race, because obviously qualifying is important, but what really counts is having a good race strategy and good race pace. So it's not very hard to set one quick lap time, but to set um, a whole race of lap times that's consistently fast after each other. That's what's tricky. That's what you need to master if you want to be fast in the race. As we see Willis
absolutely.
Jensen coming across the line here, setting uh, P4 lap time. That was a 120 point. I didn't really get that 120.9. He is super close to Arrows as well. That battle for P3 is so close. He's actually only 1,000 quicker than Walker in the Aston Martin.
Yep, as you were saying that there are five drivers who are in the 129s, 120.9s. What I mean to say, P3 all the way to P6 are all on 120.9s. And as we were speaking over there, Jensen trying to get as much as he can out of the car, trying to maximize the track over there, but failing to go across the curb carefully. And as you can see over there, the sausage curve just unsettles the car and sends you straight into the gravel trap on the exit of turn 5.
And that is probably going to make him box his lap, as the tires might be dirty now, although that will get cleaned up pretty quickly in the game, of course. But I don't know if he's going to go for another lap. I don't know if he has got enough fuel. He might do a cooldown lap now and then push. But we ride on board with provisional pole sitter Lunatic right
Hold
now, and
on
then we'll
right
change
there.
to
I need
JDX.
to show the struck car of Mr. Mehta over there if you
Oh, yeah,
noticed it. It's in the middle of the track.
yeah,
He
I
has
did.
retired.
Straight. That is on the exit of Ascari that he has crashed. Um, Probably running a bit wide into the gravel, maybe oversteering or just understeering into the wall straight up. Not completely sure what happened, but it's probably one of the two.
Absolutely. And going back on board Lunatics, he is on a hot lap. He's just finished going past Ascari out of turn 10, if I'm not wrong. And he's approaching Parabolica now. He seems to be doing a better lap at the moment. Not 100% sure. We'll have to wait and check the final lap time because I didn't have an eye on the sector times. But this is probably his last lap, and we've not noticed there's just 16 seconds left in quali, and he's gone 122. That's a really good
Yeah.
lap time, I must say. He has bettered his previous lap. He is on a second hot lap for sure because he just crossed the line with about 5 to 10 seconds left on the clock. And everyone seems to be on a hot lap at the moment. But we will quickly go on board JDX, who is currently in P2. He is on a hot lap and he's probably trying to fight for that pole position. He has a 2 tenths gap to make up to Lunatics and just goes wide over there on the exit of Axkari and has invalidated his only chance at hitting
Yeah.
it for pole position.
That was his qualifying hopes over, as we see Lunatic still pushing on going through the two Lesmos.
But
Coming down towards Ascari, let's see if he can improve.
well, improving is not going to happen because he's invalidated, and that has given the just
Yeah,
right
that is
opportunity
true.
for Dil, who was silent throughout the session and has gone up by almost 2 tenths on Lunatic's previous lap, the best lap which Lunatic's put in, and has only given Lunatics something to think about because Lunatics lost that last flying lap he had by invalidating somewhere where we missed it. But Dil has P1
Exactly.
provisional pole at the moment. Doesn't look like anyone is going to beat him at the moment. If we can check arrows right now, going across the line doesn't improve. We are
We are
completed. Quali is
waiting.
done.
Yep, that was it. Still with the pole position, surprise pole position, taking Lunatic's hopes away. Probably a bit of a shock as Lunatic was. I don't want to say dominating, but he was comfortably in the lead the whole session until this very last lap that Dill just came in and pushed him down into P2.
And another surprise, I mean, till the last flying lap that he set was Tom, who gave us the first medium hot lap, if you remember. But he seems to have put his car, the Aston Martin, in P3, if you notice right now on the right.
Yeah, that is right.
Well, take us through the standings, if you may.
Well, we have the Williams of Dill in P1 with 120.0. That is a good lap time. Then we have Lunatic P2. Um, he had pole for the provisional pole most of the session, but he lost out in the end. Tom is P3, JDX P4. P5, we have Willis Jensen, Arrows in P6 and 7. Dan Walker, Mr. Meta, ended up in P8. Owen in P9, T for Real P10. Alligator in P11. UBIA in P12. And K-Kid in P13. Sushi Trash took P15. I didn't see 14. I skipped that, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll catch them on the race start. We can have a look at the standings
Yeah.
right there. But in the meantime, everyone have set their hot laps, their best laps on. Oh, wait a
Oh, we
second.
have rain. That is exciting news. That is, especially because everyone will probably be on a dry setup, and you can't change that now as we have park firmware rules. So everyone is stuck on the setup that they used in qualifying. So if anybody forgot to put on a low downforce setup, they might be cheering right now because the wet obviously requires some more downforce than the dry. So it's going to be interesting now. Looks like it's going to be an intermediate start. Uh, can't really tell as it's virtual, so I can't really tell how much water there is, how much standing water there is. But I guess it's going to be an intermediate start for all the drivers, and let's see how the weather pans out.
Yep.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Actually, wanted to point out something. We do get, as a driver, on track in quali, when quali starts, you get the weather forecast for both the race and quali session. So you do know if it's a
true.
wet race or not. You can also see how long it's going to be wet, what kind of rain. Is it going to be light rain, heavy rain, thunderstorm kind of rain, or it's going to dry up towards the end. But if the driver sometimes misses checking the weather forecast, he would have gone for a normal dry setup and done the quali and will be in for a shock when it's race start on the grid, getting his
Yeah.
setup or strategies right, or even his fuel load right. So that will be a problem. But most probably all drivers would have checked and they know it was a wet session. That's why we were in the 120s. No one broke into the 119s, which is
Yeah.
probably a little faster time. So everyone did have a little bit more ride height onto their cars and a little bit more downforce, I presume, with the way quali times showed up.
I think you might be right. We see somebody who just left the session, I think. Not completely sure what that was about. We're still waiting for players to test in the top left corner, so just be patient with us. We are just as excited as you guys are. And obviously, we have the formation lap before the race start, so it's going to be exciting to see everyone trying to really desperately get some heat into those intermediates.
You know, I really, when I was just thinking about it, I really want Codemasters to give us a kind of graphic where it shows us the weather for for the rest of the session, like the quali session or the race session, because as spectators, who usually are the commentators or the streamers, we have absolutely no clue. We're thrown into the dark about all of these factors, which definitely give us a lot to think about. And I think I just got an intimation from the uh, coordinator for the league that there will be a lobby restart. I'm unaware of what the reason is, but yeah, we will be restarting the session. I mean, the race session, not the quali. So, yep, everyone leaving the session as you can see on the bottom, and we will also wait for them to get back. In the meantime, any important notes you made in that quali session about certain drivers or the way the track was behaving or certain parts of the track where you can drive accordingly or something like that, Alfred?
I didn't notice anything very unusual. I think we saw a crash after Ascari, which is quite common. I've seen that one quite a lot of times before, as that is where you really want to make up some time. You really want to push there, as well as the Lesmos. Um, Although we did see quite a lot of drivers who didn't really push the car to the limits. It didn't seem like they did. Sorry, um, didn't really use the whole curb or the whole exit or could carry more speed or something. So that was quite interesting actually to watch. Maybe that's the setup, or maybe it's just their driving styles. I don't know for sure, but let's see in the race what it's going to be like.
Absolutely. Actually, as you were saying that, I was thinking, I remember Owen's hot lap majorly. His hot lap did show that he's staying clear of almost all the curbs. Turn one, if you get that curb, if you know to ride that curb perfectly, where just an inch of your tire is on track on the left, you can literally slide past it smooth as butter and you will be able to hit the apex, almost straight line the apex for the second turn, the first chicane, I mean, the second turn, and you can just stay in track limits and straight, like, get your wheels straight and get onto throttle real early. That those are places, those are those tiny margins that will gain you the extra tenths to get, pole position or fight for pole in the race or in quali, I mean to say. So, yeah, something which, like you said, we did not notice a lot in most of the drivers today in quali, at least uh, all the drivers we were able to go on board when they were doing hot laps did not seem to be attacking the curbs as much as we thought they would be attacking it.
No, it definitely looked different to what I'm used to see and how I would drive the track. But maybe the track felt different than usual. I don't know. I didn't drive myself, so can't really tell.
True that. And, talking about all of these curbs and the way the car is behaving reminds me that we're expecting the new game in July, the F122 game, and a lot of excitement around it, considering the fact that We have a new car altogether, new F1 2022 cars, regulation changes, new aero regulations, a lot of ground effect involved. People are excited to think about what the porpoising will be on these cars. Will it even be included in the game? Those big tires, the not having tire warmers when you're getting out of the pits, so you'll have cold tires on your outlap during race. So a lot of these things, new factors and sprint races coming into the game. Most probably, not sure about that. Cody's or EA Sports haven't yet given us any updates on those. But yeah, uh, I hope they do keep the curbs a little less aggressive than what it is right now in game, because it's really fun to see drivers attacking those curbs and being able to utilize all of the track. Keep it realistic, I must say. But yeah, something I would like to see in the new game, I guess.
Yeah, we actually saw in Imola in real life, we saw a lot of drivers attacking the curbs really hard, even in the wet. Um, and at Imola, they of course are really flat the curbs, but when it's wet, it makes them really slippery with the paint. But we did see Leclerc pushing a little too hard over the curbs. But if we could get something like that, because he obviously he attacked that curb like that many times before he spun. Uh, and that's really amazing to see the cars flexing over the curb stuff. I would love to see that as well in the 2022 game. Um, with, as you said, the brand new regulations, I'm really excited for that.
Absolutely, that extra graphic of being able to see the car flex as it goes over the curb, something I guess pleasing to the eye. But yeah, we'll have to wait and watch how this new game is. Unlike how our current 2021 game, which everyone seems to be using in leagues, has been throwing some tantrums throughout its lifespan. I must say, we've had everything from desync issues where there have been certain cases where there is a driver on a track on in a race, and the other driver is driving on his game in a completely different track in the same lobby. That's just mad. It's unimaginable at certain times, the desync issues they were facing in the game.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
exactly.
hopefully
Sorry, go
better.
ahead.
Yeah, hopefully better online racing, I must say, online lobbies for better league racing.
That was exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, throw my words. But yeah, of course, Codemasters and EA of course has worked a lot with the box, and I think the game it's become a lot better than when it first came out. So I think it's great, and I'm excited to see what they can do for the next game, with a lot of new changes and new tracks as well. Miami Grand Prix this weekend. I'm super excited for that. Don't know how it's going to be. Of course, it's the first time ever, so I'm looking forward to that definitely.
Absolutely, the Miami circuit new looks, I mean, through the way the track layout looks and initial renders and initial what do you call it, track mods that came on the Assetto Corsa game, at least looked very, I must say, not as challenging and technical compared to most other tracks. It's a high-speed circuit. It's going around in the city. It's a street circuit to a certain extent, if I'm not wrong. It's going around that famous stadium. I'm sorry, I don't remember what stadium. It was a baseball stadium, if I'm not wrong. I could be getting some shade thrown at me in chat, but yeah, there's a famous stadium in Miami which is where it's going around one of the sections of the track. So yeah, similar to the Mexico Grand Prix stadium section in Sector 3.
Yeah, it's the Hard Rock Stadium. It's called the Hard Rock Stadium.
Yes, sir. Thank you for what do you say? For general knowledge for me, I guess I'll have to read up on that before I get trolled for it. But yes, something to look out for, I'm sure. And I
I
think,
had to search it up as well.
well, I think you got my back then on stream. Well,
Yeah, that it.
on that note, I think the drivers have lobbied up. They have gotten into the session. Same weather conditions for race as you would rightfully do. As we get into the session, give me a second as I can put it on stream. Well, there you go. We are live. Thank God. For a second, I did have a small skip of a heartbeat for not having shown the cars yet going on their formation laps. And well, you can see the grid right now, which we missed, Alfred. We've missed P14 downwards, I guess.
Yeah, in P14 we have Flux Animus, and we see two drivers disqualified from the formation lap. That's Seafood and Alligator. They will not get any heat into the tires. Is it the two Red Bulls? I think it is. Um, y- yeah. Anyways, P14 was Flux Aminus, Animus, sorry. Then we have Saturn in P15. Sushi Trash was P16 and Bungus P17. We see Flux Aminus and Saturn also having contact on the formation lap, also disqualified from the lap. They also won't get any heat into the tires, which is crucial.
Well, tires is one thing, brakes is another. If you have cold tires and brakes as a combination, that's literally deadly, especially when you have a heavy braking zone into turn one. That's Monza. It's really tough.
Exactly.
It's really tough. You will literally be sliding, you won't have any grip. You'll have to brake around 50 meters earlier already due to the wet conditions, and having cold tires and brakes means it's another 50 meters earlier, I guess, to be safe.
It's not gonna hurt them. That's for sure. That might mean that Sushi Trash and Bungus can just fly straight past Fluxaminis and Saturn, and UBIA and KK ED KKit. I'm going to call him KKit. Not sure if that's correct. Might be able to fly past the two Red Bulls. That might be possible. And we see predicted pit stop strategies here. Of course, Inter to Inter, both of them stint a little longer than the other, so it's going to be exciting. See if maybe the undercut is going to pay out here in the wet. I'm not sure. We will have to see whether or not any of the drivers will make that work.
Well, I know one thing for a fact that in the wet conditions you do not need to pit at all. If I'm not wrong,
No, it's not mandatory exactly.
it's
So
not mandatory at all.
if you can make the inter tire last the whole race, that might actually be an advantage. You might be able to do a whole race without a single stop. I think the tires will be weighed down. I'm going to stop talking because we have five lights and we have lights are out and away we go. We see a decent start from all of the front runners. I think, yep, Dill definitely keeping his P1. Lunatic going into the slipstream behind him. We see three white, multiple places down the outside. Willis Jensen running off straight ahead on the runoff area in turn one. And he's falling down again as he rejoins without a penalty. Dill already has a penalty for conquering.
Well, a lot of action happening over there. We did see Jensen. Oh, and he gets tagged by JDX over there, not being able to find his brake marker over there into turn four. Goes into the diffuser and must have definitely lost a part of his front wing over there. Maybe not visibly viewed, but yes, that's definitely going to be affecting his downforce. And considering the fact that it's in wet conditions, it will be hurting his race. But we'll wait and see. He seems to be a little squirmy on exits over there. The Red Bull behind him seems to be going a little wide. That would look like T for real, and did give the place up P12 to Sushi Trash, as Sushi Trash is making up places from P15. Is already in P13. As we can go up the field, we have P3 Tom really close to, I mean, within a second to Lunatics. Dil seems to have kept the first place, but he had a good start. But it seems like there was some issue over there. And oh, Lunatics has a huge squirm out of the Parabolica. He's being hunted right now by Tom, who's going to be trying a dive down the inside. Some weaving happening over there, some changing of lines over there. But yep, he's letting the brakes go, sending the car into the inside over there. Takes too much curb and has an unsettled car and just some wheel banging, some kisses between the diffuser and the front wing of Tom, and manages to stay away from an incident.
We see K-Kid falling down through the orders. I think he might have had a spin. Yeah, he's in the gravel with Mr. Meta as well. And was the alligator as well who was down there. And we actually saw right before I was about to say that we had Flux Animus and Saturn down in the bottom with alligator who all got disqualified from the formation lap. So that might be due to the cold tires and brakes, as we talked about before the start of the race.
Absolutely, it makes sense. Like you said, as we see over the Flux Animal still struggling to find his way through this Grand Prix, he still has not fallen too far back. He can put his head together and get in some good laps and consistent laps, like you were talking about. Consistency is the key at the moment. It's not about fast laps, it's about consistently staying on a lap time and being able to deliver till the end of the race and taking care of the tires as well at this point where it seems to be important. As we say that, Wills Jensen has made the position up to P5. He went straight into turn 1 on the race start, went on the grass and had no brakes, must have just slid through and took the runoff area. And he did not do the most instinctive thing that most drivers do, I guess, that is keep carrying on. He just slow down, give up a few positions, didn't let the game give him anything but a warning, and that did help him because he's able to fight back to the top. He's not. He's about 2 seconds away from P4 right now, but he is making some steady progress. I must say, He's cut that time down by a couple of tenths over there already by keeping it clean, I must say, which is important in these conditions.
Exactly. We just saw KQ and Mr. Meta go into the pit box for front wing change, I would guess. Um, Out here, obviously. There was a yellow flag in sector one. Mr. Meta might have had or exit of the pits, spinning up the rear wheels maybe. And we see Alligator here on Flux. Animus coming down towards Scar. He's not going to be able to do anything about it here. Um, Maybe he'll have to sit around and wait for a little while. We see JDX on Owen right here, really close actually. And if you look at the top of the screen there, you can see Dill setting in another fastest lap. So he's just setting in really good lap times, pulling away from Lunatic. Is JDX close enough to make a move on Owen here? Let's see. I don't think he is. No, he's staying behind him. That's a safe choice. Braking very late, getting really close. Um, on the entrance there. Owen pulling a little bit of a gap through the corners though, but JDX does get the slipstream here big time. That looks like it is going to be a moon. No, we have a yellow flag. He's not going to be able to overtake as JDX taps Owen to a big oversteer, big snap of oversteer. He manages to keep it pretty much straight, only losing one position to Sushi Trash. That was nicely kept by Owen. Uh, not not nice by JDX tapping. I think it was JDX who tapped another driver earlier on as well, right?
Yeah, I think so too because there was some uh, you know, tapping from the rear because of missing his braking point specifically into turn 4 for some reason. Probably that's where he's been getting close to drivers ahead. He's not able to adjust to that dirty air and brake in the right point, and you do lose a little bit of downforce, which technically does increase your braking distance going into corners when you're too close. So something which is again uh, an art. It's an art to drive in dirty air, which I think JDX is still finding tough considering that the conditions are also not helping him. But yep, he seems to have still gotten that position P7 at the moment. PRL Owen losing 2 positions in the process over there, but he seems to be having the pace. He is catching up a little to Sushi Trash, but oh, and as I say that commentator's curse, I should really stop complimenting people on stream.
Yeah, we see Owen again with big snap. Quite unfortunate. He might be running low downforce actually, and that might be why we saw JDX accidentally tapping him, or maybe JDX just missed his braking point, misjudged it. As we see Bunkus snapping on exit here of, I believe it was turn 5. No, it wasn't. Where are we? I am.
We
Yeah, it was
are,
25. Sorry, it
yeah,
was 25. Yeah, we're through the Lesmos now, coming down towards Scario now. Owen making a move on bunkers. Yep, just got I got lost there. Sorry, my bad.
yeah, that's totally fine. The speeds over here are supposed to be high, but the rain is reducing those speeds. But there's still a lot of time on track that is being spent on throttle by these drivers. As we saw that Dil getting the fastest lap of the race again, putting in some good laps up ahead. He has a 5 second lead almost to P2 in Lunatics, and Dil seems to be showing what he is made of in that Williams that he is driving, going through turn 2. Maybe a little deep into turn 1, I think, from that angle it looked like, but he has a 5.6 second lead over there for a moment. I think it was because of the difference, mini sector times just getting updated. But yeah, he has a 5 second penalty as well. I'm not sure exactly why. It did give it to him at the race start because of cutting a corner, is what if I'm not wrong, I recall it being a corner cut, which gave him a 5 second penalty.
It was. It was.
Yep. So that is what he should be trying to get. His biggest problem would be that he won't be able to get away with that 5 second penalty because he will have to pit at some point of time, and that will definitely be a stop go penalty of a 5 second penalty. What I'm talking about.
Yep, as we see Owen in P10, last one of the point runners at the moment. We see Bunkers really close to him behind actually, but this is going to be probably quite a nice battle. I think, don't mark my words here, but I think it might be. Oh, we see Tifuri getting disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. Ah, that is unfortunate. Right after turn 5, before Lesma 1. I think right before I was about to say I think it might be drying a little because Dill kept on setting fast lap times, but it actually seems to be raining quite a lot more now than it was earlier. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I think the other thing is my graphic settings may not be really helping us because it is not exactly showing us the standing water, neither is it showing us the kind of data that we're expecting to see. I'm not sure why Dil is ghosted at the moment, because if he is ghosted, he is not in the session, I believe. And if that is the case, as you can see, the timing, the gap between P1 and P2, Dil and Lunatics coming down drastically on exits.
Yeah,
So that's
he's
definitely his
losing a lot
AI
of time.
driving, and Dil seems to have disconnected from the session, which is hugely, uh, it's just pure dumb
Mm-hmm.
bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. Dill's definitely going to be upset about that. Um, we see his AI driving really slowly compared to what Dill did himself. Obviously, Dill was really fast. We see Village Chance with a 3 second time penalty for corner cutting multiple warnings. Um, yeah, Dill was doing some really good lap times. Really, definitely the fastest driver on track. But Lunatic now is catching up with the AI, no problem at all. As the AI isn't going to be as fast as a real driver.
Well, we're 8 laps into the race. We never checked what it was like after lap 1, but for now we'll check what the positions are that have been made up. The biggest gainer out of all of this seems to have been Sushi Trash, who's in P7 right now, 9 places up from where he started. He started from almost P16. Yeah, it was P16, and he's made up some decent number of positions on race start to get into P7. But let's just watch this unfortunate moment for Dil, who will not be able to join, it looks like, at the moment. Lunatic's catching up, and he's within 7 tenths now, so he's definitely getting that position. Though he would have liked to get it on track with battles. I think it's no longer going to happen at the moment. He's getting that P1 straight forward over there without much of an issue. And as we see, Tom seems to have caught up to this P1 and P2 drivers as well. Will be getting the position on Thil pretty quickly on the back straight through the exit of Ascari, and I guess that should end it.
We see them coming down towards Parabolic here, and Tom is probably going to brake later and faster speed through the corner than the air. Yep, as we see there, even running a wide line actually, cutting in there. That's interesting actually that they are running such different lines to the AI. But that of course is due to the weather. It is raining and it is tough driving in these conditions. The arrows also getting up, and arrows is now not yet, but in just a second he'll probably be in provisional P3. Oh, he actually already is in provisional P3, as still has got 5 seconds time penalty. So yeah.
Well, something to note, I must say that after all of this that we've been watching, oh, the car almost getting airborne over there. The McLaren of air arrows over there, almost going airborne, going through going through the Delarosia chicane, if I'm not wrong, getting onto the curb of turn 4, if I'm not wrong again. So that's what I was talking about: aggressive curbs, not letting you take or maximize the track or cut some curbs, ride some curbs, as most drivers seem to be doing in real life. But yeah, even FIA seem to be putting some sausage curbs on most parts of track so that it can reduce this riding curb situation between drivers. No, Jensen almost going squirmy and into the wall out of Ascari over there.
Yeah, we also see actually in the bottom, Mr. Mate really close to cake it. If we look through the field, we see a lot of close battles. Actually, a lot of people really close together, which is obviously exactly what you want to see in racing. Owen's still in P10 from earlier. Obviously, he was fighting for P6 if I'm not mistaken, but he was tapped by JDX and went down a couple positions. Bunker's just showing his front end, and that is Owen boxing as the first driver boxing without the need of repairs.
I think we'll stay on board him and check, but I think he did have front wing damage. I see his pit crew standing with a fresh front wing. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
exactly. Yeah.
probably why he had to pit. Didn't seem necessary for a driver to pit within the first 10 laps. But yeah,
That's
and
what I thought.
there we go. I just saw the message that Dil has joined back. He'll quickly be taking control of his car. He must be frustrated that he's almost 2.8 seconds behind P4 itself, and he's in P5 currently. Just to get an idea, he's lost almost 11.5 seconds being on AI over there. He was about 5 seconds in the lead from Lunatics, but now he's 6 seconds, 6.7 seconds off the lead. So, yep, and he's immediately left the session. I'm not sure if it's a connection issue or he's just frustrated, but I hope he gets back and proves what his pace can really be over there. In the meantime, let's go back onto intervals and check what's happening up front, because in all of that mishap, in all of that confusion of the AI getting overtaken by the top four cars currently, Tom seems to have gotten a couple of seconds on Lunatics and is closing in slowly. Arrow seemed close as well, but seems to be lacking the pace to stay with the top two. But he's closely being hunted down for that final podium position by Jensen, who's currently carrying a 3-second penalty, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, he is closely following arrows to fight for that P3 at the moment.
With his chance using all of his batteries, you can see in the bottom left corner. Working really hard here coming into the turns 4 and 5 and coming us towards the two decimals. I think Jensen has got the better pace over arrows, it definitely seems like. Um, but he also has to be able to overtake, which is of course tricky. Especially in these conditions, it's not going to make it easy as the cars are sliding a lot and it's hard to slow down and hard to run throttle as well. So it's going to be probably going to be a tricky one. But let's see what he can do here coming down towards the back straight, the exit of Scari here, exit of turn 10 coming down towards Parabolica here. See if he will be gaining in the slipstream. He definitely is gaining a lot of time, just showing himself in the mirrors. Definitely not going for a move there, that's way too far back. Arrows using all the curb there, and since running wider on the exit here, um, probably makes him able to go earlier on throttle as we see him slipstreaming down, and I'm pretty sure that Vincenzo might go for... No, he doesn't really get the exit or the slipstream in the end. He has to stay behind for another lap, or at least another couple of corners. So let's see what this turns out to be.
Well, in the wet, something we all have to remember is having your ERS percentage is really not much of a tough job. You can use it pretty generously, but I don't understand how Jensen's already below 20% constantly. He's using it everywhere. He's not giving any amount of time to let it recharge because he seems to be having the pace on Arrows. Arrows currently peacefully sitting with a 43% ERS percentage, and he'll be able to defend now, which is not going to help Jensen at all because Jensen is right now 19% and deploying, and there seems to be a little bit of rubber banding over there, which brought him closer, and that has definitely put Jensen a little bit off. And Arrow seems to have gone deep into the Ascari chicane, but again, considering the fact that the conditions are such where grip is not really available a lot, Jensen still trying to get the move into Parabolica, stays on the inside line, lets the brake go a little to get some rolling pace into the corner, but stays behind Arrows. I don't know if he'll have the pace to overtake Arrows now because Arrow seems to be having more ERS right now. Oh, he seems to have finished his ERS as well, trying to defend
Yeah,
from Jensen.
that's pretty interesting actually, because as you said, it's really easy to keep battery alive in the rain. Uh, you can use a lot of battery, but still just in even more. Like in Austria, for example, if it's heavy rain, you can stop talking because Village Jensen is going for the inside in turn 4 and outside in turn 5, and it actually works out. That was a great move from Village Jensen on the clearing of Arrows. That was um, we pretty much knew that he was definitely going to go for a move sometime. But that was one of the better moves that I've seen. So yeah, it was great.
Absolutely, that was a brilliant move. He just put Arrows off his line a little by staying over there in that inside line, and he put Arrows off his line over there, which caused him to go a little deeper into turn 4, and he got that space to just nudge his car in. And on the exit of turn 5, going wheel to wheel and getting the better exit as well, considering that he didn't have a very shallow angle to turn into, he was able to get that exit and get the move. Well, he has P3 at the moment. Lunatics has pit over there without a necessity to pit. So this is probably our first pit stop, like you were mentioning earlier, where he
Yeah,
did not have to pit. The teammate of
but Village
Owen.
Jensen followed him. Jensen followed him into the pits actually. That's interesting to see if the undercut is going to be powerful on this track in these conditions. Um, waiting to see if Lunatic can pull a gap on Tom, or maybe if Vincent can even make up a position on Tom. I don't think he'll be able to because that was quite a big gap up to P2, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see. Everything can happen.
Well,
So we
what's.
see the blue flags here for Cricket, I think. Yeah.
Yep, those are the blue flags for K-Kid. But important to note over here, Willis Jensen has just come out of the pits. He's had to fight Tarun over there, sending him a little wide, almost like a Leclerc versus Hamilton in 2019, sending Sai Tarun wide over there, and not maybe out of the rule book from what my understanding is being a steward, but I think it was definitely on the edge. Not very ethical, I must say, considering the conditions and considering the fact that it could have ended one of their races if for the contact model which Cody seems to be giving us with the game. But very brave, and somehow both drivers have managed to come out of it unscathed, and that is definitely um, commendable with the way they've been able to do it. And UPI are going a little squirmy over there as I noticed them exchanging positions, Bungus and UPI. Um, Bungus trying to win that position back with absolutely full tank of ERS as you notice over there. It's a sight to watch when you can deploy as much ERS as you want, whereas UPI on 30% ERS. I don't know if Bungus is ready to use all of those that ERS as well. Um, Speaking of that, Sushi Trash up ahead, um, pitting for fresh enters. He started on P15, remember that, and he's right now up in P5, almost P6 because he has JDX coming real hot on him. But yeah, JDX carrying all the speed down the start finish straight. Didn't have to accelerate as Sushi Trash had to and go up the gears. So he gets the move currently. But I'm sure that Sushi Trash has P5 at the moment in the bags. Let's have a look at where those yellow flags are coming from. It looked like Sai Tarun seems to have had a squirmy moment out of the pits, and he's going straight over there. Not sure why. Must have missed his braking point for sure.
Yeah, that did give Saturn a 5 second penalty as well. So what you want to see? He was just coming out of the pits. Maybe the tires weren't completely um, up to temperature, or maybe he did a front wing flap adjustment, and he just had to get used to it, and he outbroke himself. That might be it as well. A lot of factors can play into why you brake too late. Might also just be because he wasn't focused, and he missed his breaking point.
Absolutely, and something I've just been noticing, I did not check what the time lost in the pits is, but I'm guessing it's around 20 to 25 seconds. And if that is the case, if I can quickly switch to the leader standings, it looks like Tom and Arrows haven't lost much time staying out on Lunatics, because Tom right now is just within the time gap to get ahead of Lunatics after a pit stop, which I am not sure if they're planning to do anytime soon, but uh, I think it's a 20-second gap. Yes, so he will be 5 seconds behind Lunatic. So in that case, I think I'm wrong. I think he's lost time to Lunatics, because Lunatics having the fresher tires is definitely getting the pace on. It was really flabbergasting me, because I was shocked that the new tires weren't able to close that gap down. But now I can see that it is constantly and surely closing the gap down on Tom, who is currently leading the grid. He's in provisional P1, but not for long because he needs to pit soon.
We see actually the only two drivers who hasn't boxed yet are the P1 and P2 drivers of Tom and Arrows. So we'll see them coming into the pits probably shortly, or maybe they might try to run the race and finish it on the Inters. As we see Lunatic with 1:29.7 fastest lap, proving that the new Inters are definitely quicker, and he's only 14. Oh no, it's Inter. Sorry, it changed his. I just thought he gained 6 seconds right there. So my bad.
My bad, I changed to the interval, instead of the leaderboard, I changed it to the interval standings. So if that's the case, yes, he's closed in about I think Lunatics is closed in about a second already within a couple of laps. He has 10 laps now to himself to try and overtake two drivers to get the win. Actually, one driver if you remove Arrows from the equation, because Arrows must be having a penalty, a 5-second penalty if I'm not wrong, or 3-second penalty for track limit warnings. So yeah, it's a race on to the finish right now. We'll have a quick check if you want on what the actual gap is. Yes, it's about 5 tenths a second. Yeah, it was 20.5 a couple of laps before, and now it's at 19.4. So the gap is coming down slowly, like I was telling. But if he does have the time to do it, is what I need to see, because what we have to see, in fact, because 10 laps, about 10 laps to go, and he has about 19 seconds to catch up and go past two cars to get the win.
Yes, but Tom and Arrow's tires are definitely going to wear out even more, and if they wear out too much, and the tread disappears on the tire, it's going to be really slippery in the wet conditions. So it's going to be an exciting one to see if they risk everything and stay out. It might be worth the gamble. It might not be. Only one way to find out.
Yep, only one way to find out, to see how they're going to be faring over here. And Codemasters has thrown another bouncer at us, and we're not able to see what the gaps are between drivers. It's slowly loading up as they go past the particular sectors they are currently in. Probably sector 1 is what everyone's waiting for, the whole leaderboard is waiting for a refresh of the gaps. But yeah, looking forward to where that gap between Lunatics and Arrows, because if in this one lap he's been able to reduce the gap by a second again, that is something then we are on for a final lap battle probably for the race win, and I'm sure that both these drivers in P1 and 2 are going to be fighting for all of those honors on track and defending with all their lives, defending like a lion, as Alonso would say.
Yeah, Tom is definitely not going to give up easily. That P1, which he of course got from Dill when he was disconnected, who's now down in P10. Um, it is super unfortunate for him, but I think Tom will definitely be pleased with that. Um, and let's see here, Dill in the race. Oh, and his front wing seems to be gone there as he touches Bungus. I don't know if it was the whole wing or just part of it, but I think I saw some parts. Yeah, end plate is off, left hand end plate. That's going to be a big effect on the downforce, so he might have to box. Yeah, definitely coming into the pits now. Damage limitation. He's going to try to see if he can gain some or finish in the points and get some points for the championship, even though he disconnected from the race.
Well, that was actually a pity. He has rejoined the session. He's trying a move out of Ascari on Bungus, but Bungus seemed to have had a really bad exit over there and couldn't really push it from there. And I think that just caught the brilliant exit that Dill had, taking all the curves the right way and maximizing the pace, the mid corner speed through Ascari, and yeah, that caused that front wing end plate, the left end plate, to be donated to Monza. And as we speak about that, quick update: Lunatics has caught on with uh, within 3 seconds. He's almost 3 seconds closer now to Tom, and that means he is catching up at a really fast pace. And that drop off, the tire performance drop off that you were talking about, which both Tom in P1 and Arrows in P2 are experiencing, will probably be, uh, you know, catching up to them, and they are on 19 lap old inters, and they're not really helping their cause over here. And if that is the case, within lap 25, I think they'll not have any grip to defend, even if they want to defend.
I think you're right. I think they are getting closer and closer to the cliff as we see Lunatic gaining even more time on them. It's amazing to see Lunatic also just driving flawlessly, not making any mistakes, just being careful, but still going really fast. And yeah, that is good to see. That is what you need to be able to do, especially in the rain. It is super important to be able to drive without making too many mistakes. As we see, Lunatic coming up on some back markers, I think. Um, yeah, definitely. That's is it Mr. Meta and Flux Animus, sorry. I
Yep.
think yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. And we see Lunatic gaining almost a second on just that one lap right there. So he is definitely the fastest driver on track right now. Vils Jensen also gaining. He was 33 seconds behind at first. But I think Lunatic definitely is the fastest driver on track right now. Oh, I just said that. As Vils Jensen said the fastest lap, but JDX overtook it with 129.5. Um, so I was wrong there. JDX is the fastest man on track right now.
Yep, he seems to be having the pace. He seems to have used quite a decent amount of his ERS as well on that lap, and they're all on fresh tires. Remember, the only two drivers, like you mentioned earlier, who are on old tires are Tom and Arrows, and we have a yellow flag somewhere in Sector 2, quickly cleared off. Just a little bit of a gravel expedition by one of the Alpines, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, Bungus, if I'm not sorry, Flux Animal, if I'm not wrong, because he seems to have lost a position to Meta, Mr. Meta, and he's also let the leaders, that's the Haas of Lunatics, pass. Lunatics catching up pretty fast. I need to go back to that. He's at 14
He's
seconds
really
right now.
close now. Really, really close. This if he keeps on gaining at this rate, I'm pretty sure that he will probably get past. Although we only do have 6 laps left.
Yep, 5 laps to be
So
precise. They're going to start the
5, yeah,
23rd
yeah.
lap.
Sorry. Exactly. So that is actually that's really close. As we see Kakit spinning off after Ascari and taking out the DHL sign. He had rear end first, Wilson's fastest lap. Um, yeah, Kakit, his race is pretty much over, anyways. I don't think he will be able to make up anything really. Not getting any points on unless six cars crash out or retire for some reason. So Kakit just trying to finish the race.
On the other hand, this battle seems to be getting closer and closer because Bungus right now getting really close to Owen. Owen's been stuck in P9 after that incident with JDX. JDX seems to be um, considerably closer to Jensen by about 3 tenths. I must say that gap is really dilly-dallying between the two drivers in P4 and P5 between Jensen and JDX because they're. Wait a second. There seems to be double yellows in Sector 2, which means, oh, that was Kakid who's lost his front wing on the exit of turn 4. So, yep, I think that is definitely race over at this point for Kakid. His gap probably increasing drastically to P15. So he will probably have a chance at going to fastest lap if he pits and gets a couple of laps to try it. But yeah, I think that's the end of his race. Moving on, as I was talking about the battle for P4, JDX and Jensen really exchanging sector times, and it is really a fun piece of, I mean, a fun share of skill between those two drivers. This exchanging sector times, they're going between that 2 second gap to that 1.7 second gap between the two. As you can see, it's just touch two, and it's about getting that consistency which these two drivers seem to be able to get at this point. And talking about that, Lunatics is right now 13 seconds to the leader, but he has only 4 laps to get up close, and it doesn't seem like that is going to be possible. And we do have a retirement. I think Kakid has crashed on the end, on the entry of the pit lane. I won't be able to go on board him, it looks like. Well, his car has just gotten cleared off by the game, so I think he went straight into the bifurcation between the main straight and the pit entry uh, lane, pit lane. So yeah, his race is over. From pain to just disheartened feeling being a Ferrari driver on this track and not being able to finish and struggling must be a really painful moment. But nonetheless, his teammate in P8 doing a pretty decent job, being able to stay in P8 and getting a couple of points for the team. Um, More than a couple of points, I think 3 points. Willis Jensen showing the pace. He just got the fastest lap, and we do have a spun car somewhere up ahead. I'm not sure if we could catch that on stream, but it looked like the car of Flux Animus, who is currently in P15 behind Alligator, close behind Alligator.
Yeah, and we see Lunatic taking away even more of that time, and actually Arrows gaining a lot of time on Tom as well. Uh, Probably not going to be enough, especially as Arrows does have that second time penalty, I believe. Um, so does Willis Jensen, so he's also probably going to lose out to JDX unless he can pull a 3 second gap, of course. And we see Dill with the fastest lap on 18 laps old.
Yeah, as I was talking about, I was just checking that out. Dil has spit over here. He's gone into fresh enters. I think he's going for the fastest lap at this point because he's realized he's a lapped car and he has no chance at getting onto the points. So he's probably just going to have some fun now doing some hot laps on track.
And trying to get that point away from whoever has the fastest lap at the moment, which is Willis Jensen. Yeah. So taking that point away from Jensen could be crucial in the championship standings in the end.
Well, crucial or not, we have a battle coming up for the win. We have 2 laps to go. Lunatic seems to have caught up a lot of time suddenly, 3 seconds within the span of 2 laps, and he's within 9 seconds now. He's catching up a lot, if you ask me, and I think that's purely because of the fact that the drivers up ahead have 24-lap-old inters, and his are almost 14 laps fresher. So he definitely seems to be having the pace at the moment. If he's able to get those lap times in, I think he should be able to close that gap in, because the drop off for these tires will be pretty drastic, and the top two drivers are probably nursing these tires to the end. They have only 2 laps, and there's no way they're going to try and pit now, because they lose a lot of positions, probably way out of the podium positions itself.
Yeah, exactly. Tom and Arrows gotta finish the race on this compound now. There's no other choice really. But I think it's possible. We see Arrows getting really close to Tom actually. Like um, they might be able to have a little bit of a battle. I don't think so. It's too big of a gap still. But if I think if I was Lunatic right now, I would hope that Arrows and Tom would have a battle and maybe spin out. I think that's the only hope for Lunatic at this moment. Of course, he is gaining a lot of time, but I don't think it is going to be enough. That 8.5 seconds on 2 laps, I don't think that's going to be possible, unfortunately. I would love to see a great battle on the final lap, but I don't think so.
Well, that being the case, I think Owen over there getting overtaken again by Bungus, as I was trying to show it when you were talking about the battle up in front. Owen again trying to go for the move, probably to less of battery percentage, ERS percentage, so he's gonna be on on hold. He'll try to gain some during this lap, probably, and then attack on the next lap, because Bungus has umpteen amount, so much of truckloads of ERS, I must say. He has almost 70% of ERS left in tank, and Owen has no way he's gonna be able to contest for P9 at the moment. Probably going easy, because Bungus seems to be having a penalty. If we can have a look at the penalty situation right now, Bungus has 8 seconds to his to his name over there, to his driver name, and that's probably going to hurt him, because he's going to drop a few places down. In the meantime, Arrows probably has to look out for just one thing, and that is Lunatics, who's on the final lap now, and Lunatics shouldn't be able to close into 3 seconds, because if that is the case, Lunatics will steal that P2 from him. And talking about that, Arrows has caught up a second to Tom, as you were mentioning, them getting closer and closer by the lap. Actually, at every corner, Arrow seems to be gaining a lot on Tom. He's gained almost 3 tenths within the first sector itself over there, and he is getting closer. And probably it's him taking care of the tires for this last lap push, because Tom seems to be
Yeah.
going really slowly on this final lap. Not sure why exactly, but he can see the McLaren of Arrows in the background. Is within a couple of seconds. And talking about that, Lunatics is within, getting very close to getting that P2.
It's just too tense now. It's going to be all or nothing in Parabolica for Lunatic. He's going to brake super late and go early on the throttle. It's 1/10. Can he do it? This is going to be the most exciting finish, I think, for P2. Let's see if he can do it. That is going to be super close. I think he got it. Yeah, Lunatic. Oh, just 33 thousandths of a second off. That was super close to P2, but Lunatic ended up P3, which is still a great result. Jensen taking P4, Tom obviously P1, and Arrows P2. The winning strategy was actually to box it all, which is only a possibility in the wet conditions in Formula One, because in the dry you have the mandatory pit stop. Right here we ride along with Bunkus, who has an 8-second time penalty, so he probably won't finish in the point position. Oh, he will actually, as Citroen also has an 8-second time penalty. So Bunkus will probably end up in P10. Yep, exactly. So, oh, he got another 5. I don't know if that was going to be a game changer. let's see the grid rundown. We see Tom P1, Arrows P2 as we ride along with. Sushi Trash is the games driver of the day. If you ask me, I would say either Tom or maybe even Dill actually. Even though he finished where he did, he was super unfortunate. But Tom drove a brilliant race, obviously, as you see him spraying champagne all over the podium. He drove a brilliant race, not a lot of mistakes, zero penalties, and just overtook Dill's AI and rode nice and safely home. Arrows getting close at the end. Maybe because Tom knew that Arrows got the 3 second time penalty, so maybe he just he took it with ease, knowing that it was his race to win. So yeah, good run down. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, sure. So we have Tom with that brilliant drive, not pitting at all, finishing P1, gets the win. Arrows gets P2 on the McLaren. Again, the same strategy as Tom. Lunatics trying the real valiant comeback over there after the pit stop, realizing it might not be possible. Comes home P3, just losing out on P2. And in P4 we have Jensen, P5 we have JDX, Sushi Trash follows him with a really good comeback drive from P15. Dan Walker comes P7, Owen comes P8, UP Yaya comes P9, and the top 10 is rounded off with Bungus coming in P10 for Alpine. Sai Tarun just misses out because of the penalties over there, so he comes in P11. But yeah, I think that is the end of our race for the night. We did have a really good, fun race over there, I must say. Lot of action. Did get a little boring somewhere towards the end, towards the middle part of the race, but there was some action happening in the midfield where Owen was having to fight with Bungus a lot for position for P10 and P9 respectively. And we also did see that really good attempt by Lunatics to catch up to the top two. In fact, at the end, it looked like he was getting very close. It was going to the line, not probably physically between two cars, but with the penalty situation which Arrows had for P2, and he almost had it over there, missing out on 300ths of a second. So yeah, that should round off with the Monza race, the Italian GP, as I must say, for the night. Anything else you want to add, Alfred?
I want to add that you guys should definitely tune in next week because it's going to be exciting. And next round, which is going to be round 3, we will be racing in France at the Castellet, and that's going to be exciting racing, hopefully.
Yeah,
Sorry, my voice is a bit bad. I've been sick for a couple of days, so that's why. But yeah, I hope you guys want to tune in for the next race as well, and join me and Harry for another one. Hopefully, just as exciting in the end.
Yep, thank you. Good night, and do make sure to follow us on our social media handles on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And do get onto the YouTube channel of Prospects eRacing League and follow us, subscribe to the channel, and to follow all of the other tiers that we do have. We have a couple of tiers, maybe a few more tiers. I'm not sure of the number, but we have a PS4 League as well. We also have started PC right now. So yes, this is the first season, and do come and support and like the stream and subscribe to it. Thank you. Good night.